Hi there, Jerry Gagne again. Foy's on Facebook. I'm the owner of Foy's, but I think most of you know that. We started a new segment last week, um, and as you'll notice, we add and subtract segments based on your suggestions in most cases, or sometimes it's the brainchild of Gina. She's always coming up with ideas, and I have to vote them down most of the time because they're not really good ideas, but what are you going to do? Now, in this segment, it's just 15 minutes with Jerry. I thought that would be a good idea rather than having to answer questions. I would just talk about a couple of different things that 15 minutes give me. One of the things we get a lot of is people who are looking for a program, because the question we get very often is, what can I do to prevent my birds from getting sick? And as most of you know, I'm not much of a believer in antibiotics unless the birds are sick. You can't give them antibiotics so they don't get sick. It just doesn't work that way. What you've got to do is do everything you can to make your loft hospitable, clean, neat, disinfected, free of as much stress as you possibly can. Here in Pennsylvania, it's breeding season for us. A lot of people are just now starting. Some people started in March, different people, different times, different circumstances. The racing Hummer people usually breed earlier than the fancy pigeon people because the 2019 birds have to be ready to race by July in most cases. So they start as early as they can so that they're younger, mature and ready to race. Fancy pigeon people, they're gearing up for the show season, which really, the show season doesn't start until the middle of the summer with the real heavy shows, large shows in the wintertime. So what I wanted to suggest to you, and I got a few things, if I have time I will, it's a breeding program. It looks pretty simple. It's free for you. If you want a copy, all you have to do is call Foy 724-843-6889 and we'll send you a free, it's just one page, but it's called a breeding program. Now this is for your breeding pairs, not for your young ones. And it's a 16-week program. Now that doesn't mean that you can't make it shorter. It's the beginning. The earlier you start, the better. And you can also go a little longer if you want. So this is a 16-week program, and it's broke up into 1-week segments. So we're going to go with week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, and then you're going to go back to week 1, and 4 series gives you 16 weeks. And this was all prepared by Dr. Botha, a world-renowned pigeon veterinarian, had pigeons most all of his life. He is the creator of a lot of the products that we sell. This is one, Aviomed they're called. And I had asked Oker what he could come up with a breeding program. And we'll be talking in the future about flying program too, pre-breeding program. But the breeding program should start when you put your birds together. That's the earliest you should start to do it. When you put your hens and cocks together or when you want to start breeding. Some people don't segregate their birds, their hens and cocks. But I emphasize that you can start it at any point. You start it on a Sunday, and go through till Saturday, and then we go to week 2. And you'll see Dr. Botha and I are of a like mind in that we're not suggesting that you antibiotic, there are going to be some involved, but you've got to do the basics, which are canker, coccidiosis, and worms. So on this particular program, on a Sunday, you know the name of the song, Gina, on a Sunday? I don't think it is. Well, I'm sorry, I got sidetracked. Gina's over there talking to me, and I'm trying to do this. It's embarrassing sometimes. But anyway, don't believe everything I say, by the way, except when it comes to pigeon stuff. On a Sunday, most of these, and I hope you have a pencil and paper, most of these products are Aviomed because Dr. Bosa did suggest it. But it doesn't mean you can't substitute if the drugs are basically the same and you get them somewhere else. That's okay. We're here to make the information available to you. You make the decision. So on a Sunday, you're going to give them a product called Multi-Breed, Multibreed. And if you call the store and need it, they'll know what you need. And you're going to, Multi-Breed goes on the feed. So you're going to put a light oil on it. We sell different oils for that, or you can use a light vegetable oil. But of course, if you have the way, the means, so forth, it'd be better to buy a oil product that was made specifically for pigeons. So, Multi-Breed on the feed after you've lightly oiled it with immune oil. We have the feather and immune oil in stock, and what you're doing now is the first step to creating healthy pigeons, pigeons with glowing, soft feathers. I've done this, and I've used some of these products, and people are amazed at what my birds look like. That's a Sunday. Monday, there's a product called Blood Form. Now, Blood Form has been discontinued, has it not, Gina?
Correct.
Okay, so when this was printed, Blood Form was the product you want to use. But all you have to do is go into our catalog or anybody else's catalog, and you want a product that boosts the blood. They're available, not just the Blood Form. Now, I'll have to go back just a little bit. On Sunday, he's suggesting that that's a good time also to spray your loft with a good insecticide. We sell them. You can buy some. Can you come up with an insecticide, Gina? I'm thinking of the one.
The spray?
Yeah.
The bug spray. Bug spray.
Bird spray.
Bug spray.
Bug spray. Oh, okay.
Or
we have that's a disinfectant. A bug spray. We have all kinds of them. And I'm stumbling because, as you may know, we don't practice. Veronica turns the camera on and away we go. So Sunday is Multi-Breed, feather and immune oil. And then you're also going to spray your bird to get rid of all of the bugs. Or you could dip them in something called permectin. One of the good things about permectin, and that's the one I use, is you dip your birds. Before you dip your birds and get the water dirty, you can use it as a spray. Spray the whole loft, the floor, the loft, the nest boxes, everything. So you clean your loft of bugs and you put them on Multi-Breed, feather immune. Next one, Monday, is Blood Form. Tuesday, Fertical. Fertical is a ferti. It means it's for fertility, and that's very important. And it's early in the program, so Fertical is another product added to the feed. On Wednesday, there's a product called Entromune. And Entromune is a natural product. Once again, it goes on the feed, and I've used it. You have to include a product called Avio Gel. So in this particular case, on a Wednesday, we're talking about Entromune. What you do is you get your feed ready. You know how much you use, and you put it with the Avio Gel, so Entromune, Avio Gel. You mix it all up, and it becomes almost like a paste, a little thinner than that. You mix it with the feed it to the birds. So you're only going to make the amount of feed that you're going to use in a day. Most people, I said it before, feed too much. So feed lightly, and then on the Wednesday, it's Entromune combined with Avio Gel. Thursday, you're going back to the Fertical. Dr. Bosa believes it's very, very important that you take care of potential fertility problems now, not after they've laid the eggs and you've got to start all over again. So Fertical. On a Friday, you're going back, a lot of repetition. And the advantage of the repetition, it's important that you do it, but you don't have to buy 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 different products because we're repeating. For instance, the Fertical is repeated twice. The Entromune is repeated twice in the same week. Now, we're into week 2. And if you have questions on this particular program, you can always call our show and we can clarify it. or not call, Facebook the question, and we'll answer it. Week 2, there's 4 weeks. Week 2 on a Sunday, going back to multi-breed, which you did last Sunday, and you're going to combine that with the immune oil. On Monday, it's blood form. Can you tell me if I repeat myself, will you please? On Thursday, Fertical again. So you don't have to buy new products these first 2 weeks. You're using basically the same products. Thursday is Fertical, important. Friday is Intramune and Avio Gel, a repeat. And Saturday is Fertical again. Week 3, sounds like a broken record, doesn't it? Multi-breed feather immune, the blood product. Tuesday, Fertical. Wednesday, Intramune and Avio Gel. Thursday, Fertical. Friday, Intramune and Avio Gel. And then Fertical. Seems like a lot. We're into the 3rd week. But all of these products don't work the day you put them in. You're building up their strength, their resistance, their fertility, but it takes time. Almost everybody that's on medications, it isn't one pill one day or whatever you might be using. It's usually 7, 10, 12, 20 days, whatever it is. This is the same. It takes a while. And now let's go to the next week. Let me look at it. Well, it's all the same. Week 3. Multi-breed blood product, Fertical, Intramune, Fertical, Intramune, Fertical. Now, we're going to talk about the 4th week. This is repetition. Let me see here. By golly, it's the same thing. But I want to go back just a little bit. On Saturday of the 2nd week.
2 minutes.
2 minutes. I can go over if I want.
No, you can't.
Okay. Saturday of the 2nd week, you're also going to use ectoendo. That's ectoendo is a wormer, is it not? Ectoendo? No? And then what we're going to also do in week 3, and remember, you get these free if you want. Week 3, you're going to use aviozole, which is for canker. Then going back to week 4 again, on everything else is the same, but on a Friday, you're also going to add cocci. So you can see they went after worms, canker, coccidiosis. Well, I hope you've learned from this. What do we have, a minute or so? Okay, if you want to call Foy's and order this product, or if you want to copy this, it's free mailing. The program is free to you. We'll mail it right out. And if you have any questions, you can call me at the store, but don't call me in the next hour because we're going to be doing the show. 724-843-6889. Almost stumbled on that. 724-843-6889. I've had fun. Had all of this stuff really wasn't fun because Gina and Veronica were making faces to see if they could make me laugh, but they didn't get to do it. We got the program, and I've got some more. I might talk about these other things in the show. The show starts in just a minute,
Right now.
in 30 seconds. The show starts right now. And welcome to Gina Dawn Whaley Gagne. You start, and I'm going to take a sip of my Pepsi. It really is Pepsi, folks.
Nothing else in it. Good afternoon. Hope everybody's having a great Friday. Welcome to Foy's on Facebook. I'm Gina. As you know, this is Jerry. Say hi.
Hi, folks. Oh, that's right. For folks, maybe mention, I'm sorry, that if you're just tuning in, you missed 15 minutes of the greatest podcast there was ever podcast. I did 15 minutes. And it's a new segment. We do 15 minutes before the show actually starts, and I just talk about. I interrupted you.
Didn't he say he needed to take a break?
Oh, I'm leaving.
No, you don't have to leave.
All right.
So anyways, welcome to Foy's on Facebook. Today is our 33rd show. Today we'll be talking about respiratory. The last couple of weeks we've had a lot of customers ordering respiratory products, so that's why we decided to talk about respiratory today. I do want to remind everybody this is a live show, so if you watch it in the next couple of days or next couple of weeks, and you're asking us questions, we're not going to see it because this is a live show. We answer them live. So in a couple of days from now, if you ask, we're not going to see the questions. So,
Okay, but they can go on Facebook and watch the show and
oh
post
yeah,
questions
you can always watch the show.
on the website.
Yeah.
My
He
glasses.
just can't help himself. So once again, today's show is about respiratory. At the end of the show, from 4 to 4:15, we will be holding the NPA Legacy Fund Trust auction. We have 3 pair of birds today: American Fantails, Serbian High Flyers, and Racing Homers. So tune in at 4 o'clock for the auction. We already have.
I was going to ask you.
We already have bids. So pay attention till the end of the auction to see if you won or not, because we say it live and we post it in the comments to tell you who won.
And you can bid the last 15 minutes or so. When the show starts, you can still make bid during the show.
Yeah,
The
you
auction.
can always bid. So once again, if you have any questions, you want to order a catalog or you want to place an order, you can give us a call, 724-843-6889.
And away we go. We're going to take a question? Or
Yes, we have a question from Yusuf. He said, can we vaccinate for PMV during breeding season? I'm overdue for that.
Do it as soon as you possibly can. You can. Well, it's not suggested. Don't breed those young ones in the nest if they're very young. If they're up around 2 weeks and starting to feather and all of that, you still can. Just don't use anything more than what it suggests, and do it as soon as you possibly can. Thanks, Yosef.
Sorry.
Should we mention, because I'm real excited about it,
Yeah.
before you go to something else, how many views did we have the last show?
Was it 89,000?
89,000 people checked us out. That's, I think, probably one of the highest. We had one time where we had 103,000, and 89. Wow, that's a lot of people. And just thanks an awful lot for watching us. And all the comments, like Gina, so many people just call us and say they watched us on Facebook and they enjoyed it. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
They sit and eat their popcorn and watch us and all that. I did want to put out, I think we talked last show about the Versalaga container. It was held up in customs, but it will be delivered next Wednesday. So if you need anything from Versalaga, don't call Wednesday. You can call us on Thursday. We'll be unloading and putting everything away on Wednesday.
I got hell about the last one, the last container come in. Gina stopped me and she says, now, when this container comes in, don't you be overdoing it. Because the last one I about fainted 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, I told him, do not overexert yourself.
Even though I'm almost 80, I was trying to prove I'm only 45.
Right. It's a lot of work. So yeah, he tries to be a macho man. Anyways, so respiratory. You want to talk about the all natural respiratory first?
Yeah, there are a lot of folks, just like humans, are now looking for ways to use all natural products. And another reason is, in its wisdom, the United States government considers pigeons chickens. Mm-hmm. And they passed a resolution, or whatever you want to call it. They passed it as of this January, what was the one before that? Anyways, as of last January, you can no longer buy antibiotics from the sources that most of you purchased from before. The Tractor Supplies, the feed stores, the Rural Kings. None of them can sell you an antibiotic. And if you've tried, you'll notice they're not even on the shelves anymore, so you can't get them. We're fortunate that it hasn't affected most of your supply companies that supply pigeon supplies. So we still have all of the antibiotics, and as does the other supply houses, but we don't know how long that's going to last. Eventually they might come down on us too. So there are a lot of people preparing for the lack of antibiotics or availability of them, so that they're going natural as best they possibly can. And I'd like to think we're a little ahead of the curve in most cases. Some of these products that are all natural, we've had on the market for years and years with a fair amount of success. To be perfectly frank, I'm not so sure that many times you really do need an antibiotic, and you do your best with the naturals. And some work, some help. Work meaning it solved the problem, help meaning the birds seem a lot better, but not gone back to perfectly good health. So when it comes to natural products, we have a product. Do you have the information on it? Did I get? Is this it?
It's probably in your notes
Bronco
here somewhere.
Plus. Thank you. See, I need help. Thank you. Bronco, BRONCHO. We have it in stock. Is that correct?
We do.
Okay. It's made by a company in Norway, and Pigeon Vitality has been one of our suppliers for a long time. If you see a product by Pigeon Vitality, you know it's an all-natural product. So Bronco Plus, and Gina and I were talking about it a little bit before the show. It's similar to, it's used like
Vicks.
Vicks Vapor Rub. What it contains, to give you an idea, it contains peppermint. Started in here somewhere. It includes do you have it, Gina? I can't find it up to the top
It's
of my
on the
head.
container.
On the product itself. But anyways, it's an all natural product. I know when I was looking at it, one is peppermint, which opens up the air passages, much like Vicks Vapor Rub does when they put it on your chest. Do you remember the other ones, Gina?
No, I can't.
Is it not here?
I can't see it.
Oh, you can't see it. I wonder why. It's got raspberry in it. It's got, I'm trying to read it too. Oh, that's terrible. Peppermint, eucalyptus, that's what I was looking at, and menthol. So you know all three of those are natural products. So if you have a bird with mucus in its mouth or nose, it's going to help clear the nasal passages. It also is a great aid in many of the respiratory problems, especially if you're a person who flies your birds, racing homers, tipplers, high flyers. When they have respiratory issues, they can't fly for the hours and hours that you would want them to. So it helps, once again, with respiratory issues. Also, you may want to take it with you when you go to a show. Those birds aren't used to all of what's going on and all the dust and all of that might be in the show hall, especially some of the smaller ones. So it's a good one to use to try to keep your birds healthy when you bring them back home. You certainly don't want it. So it's going to help. It's not going to treat. It's going to help you prevent respiratory problems. Is there anything else I can mention? Oh, if you need, the instructions are on it, but go to our website, or you can also go to our catalog, talk more about it. The other product that Gina wanted me to talk, did I cover that okay, Gina?
Yes.
Okay. In talking about natural products, is Airways Gold. Airways Gold is made also by Pigeon Vitality.
No. Airways Gold.
Airways shows you what I know.
Hilton
That
Herbs.
one's Pigeon Vitality.
Hilton Herbs.
God, I just have to keep proving I'm an amateur, don't I? Amateur. Hilton Herbs. This one comes out of England, British. Yeah, it's British, and it's for healthy respiratory. Here again, it cleans the passages also. Take well. Unique little bottle. See this? You got two caps. This holds a full dose of what you're going to do. It pours out of here, and then it fills back up again. So you don't have to measure your dosage. Clarify once again is for respiratory mycoplasmosis.
You're talking about this,
Yes.
not this.
Oh, I'm sorry, Judge. You want to do this?
No.
I'm awfully sorry, folks. It's just my mind is somewhere else today, I think.
I'll give this
Airways
to you when
Gold,
you need
right?
it, yes.
But anyway, I can read it off of here to give them some ideas. It contains clover, plantains. Plantains is looks like a
Banana.
banana. Yep, they have them, a lot of them down south. Marshmallow leaf. It also contains eyebright, licorice, thyme, and apple cider vinegar. I might be wrong, but I think this is the only product we have that has apple cider vinegar in it. We sell apple cider vinegar, but this one has it. And you know, so many people put apple cider vinegar in the water. It helps create an acidic environment, which bacteria has a difficult time growing. So it's got eucalyptus, clover, plantain, and other all-natural drugs made specifically for the drinking water to help keep your birds healthy, much like we talked about the program earlier in our show. This particular product is for respiratory prevention and helps them, if they do have a health issue with respiratory, helps them through it. Well, what can I stumble over next?
Clarify would be next.
I won't sleep tonight thinking I screwed this whole show up.
I'm sure.
Clarify. All right.
That's from Pigeon Vitality.
This one is from Pigeon Vitality. Once again, I need a pair of glasses because I can't read it very well.
Here.
Oh, wait a minute. Here's the plant extract. Want my glasses?
No.
It's a natural product to reduce respiratory issues. It's made from licorice root. It's made, which is, it's a long word. We'll call it licorice root. I like licorice. And what it does is help prevent the coughing. The birds, when they have the mucus in their throat, help clear that up so they're not coughing, trying to cough it out. It reduces and soothes when they have problems in their throat from a respiratory, just like pigeons get a sore throat just like you do. So if you're looking for an all-natural product, this might be the one for you to try. See, it says the main idea is to suppress, knock down respiratory issues. Not an antibiotic, but a great product. And of course, with all of these natural products, you can use them when you're breeding. We had a call or a question earlier about vaccinating when they have young. Well, it's also, you do your very best not to use antibiotics when they're young. So why not go to one of our natural products that you can use? Go ahead. I see a question up there. There's a comment. Huh?
No, it's a question.
Okay. Hi, Gary.
Is it not good to have pigeons and chickens side by side in 2 pens, but they're not together?
In a building, I'm assuming, not a wire enclosure, but in a building, I would generally say no. You might build a wall between the two, a plywood wall, but a wire wall, the dust, they still can peck at each other if the screening's not small. And chickens carry Newcastle's disease, which is very similar to PMV. Pigeons have PMV, but I don't think you should. I have chickens and I have pigeons, and they're in completely separate buildings. Another issue with chickens is their droppings are rather large, which means they carry more worms and cocci, which your birds can get also. So if it's possible, don't do it. Okay.
Next, we're going to talk about one-eye colds.
Am I or you?
You are. Of course you are. I'm just your sidekick.
Okay. One-eye colds are a very, very common problem, and they do fit into what we're trying to talk about today, which is respiratory. A one-eyed cold is respiratory. I'll start off with the first one that comes to mind. That's one of the respiratory diseases is chlamydia. Chlamydia, in layman's terms, is pink eye. It's not common. I've never had it, but it is there, and pigeons can get it. The reason I start out with that is it is one, if not the only, one of the few diseases that you can actually catch from a pigeon. So if you're a pigeon fancier, chlamydia it does cause pink eye. The treatment is aureomycin for 45 straight days. 45 continuous days. A lot of people don't think they can get aureomycin anymore. Well, you can from us. We have a product called Triple C. It's chlorotetracycline. There's other things in it, but chlorotetracycline is aureomycin. So if you are concerned or think you may have it, you can call me, and I'll do my very best to ask you all the questions, and then we'll come up with an idea if you do have chlamydia. Once again, I've never had it in my life. And then when you talk about respiratory, I'm supposed to be talking about respiratory, aren't I?
One-eye colds.
One-eye cold. Is ornithosis, mycoplasmosis. You might know in my voice too. I'm tired.
Earl commented that I said I'm your sidekick. He said it's okay to kick me under the table.
Oh, anyway, ornithosis and mycoplasmosis, you will see it in the eye, and you'll also see it in their mouth. You open their beak, and you'll see strings of white mucus coming down. Thankfully, in most cases, the drugs that treat one treats the other, but they are typical and very common respiratory issues. If you have ornithosis or mycoplasmosis, your birds aren't going to fly worth a darn. If you see that mucus, or if they've been diagnosed with one of those two, keep the birds in the loft until they're healthy. You'll lose them. Tipplers, high flyers, the same thing. So there are some good drugs. Spiridox is one that I mention in almost all cases when you're talking about ornithosis and mycoplasmosis. There are other drugs, but Spiridox is a combined drug. Spironolactone and what's the other one? Doxycycline, Spiridox. So it's a good one, goes in the water, also available in a tablet form. So there's two more. One-eye cold could be any of them, could be mycoplasmosis. One of the other things, a little trick I've found, is that if you have a bird with a one-eyed cold and you get rid of it and it comes back to the same bird, move the perch. That sounds weird, or maybe you've heard me talk about it, or move where that bird, or block it where that bird is perching at night or during the day. Many times there are unseen drafts, and that perch may be in a draft. It might be simple as moving the perch, and that bird goes perching somewhere else and has no more problem. But in some cases, it certainly is respiratory. So in some cases, people like the idea of treating just the bird. It's only one bird. They don't want to medicate the rest of their birds. So we do have products that come in tablet form also, and eye drop. Dr. Pigeon, world famous Dr. Pigeon, great man, passed away 2 years ago. 2 years ago. I mentioned it before to show how esteemed he was. Esteemed. He is the only person that's ever received $1,000 in contribution in memory of him. But he came up with all of these products. This is one drop, one eye, one time. All you do is this little dropper, hold the bird, one drop right under the eye, and usually clears it up overnight. Sometimes the second day, but almost always clears it up overnight. So you shouldn't be without that. Now, in tablet form, we have a product, I would venture to say, when it comes to antibiotic, probably one of our most popular drugs. It's called Divet, Divet. There's 100 tablets, and it does treat all the symptoms of one-eyed cold. But what I like about Divet, listen to what this treats. We talk about it as a respiratory, but it treats E. coli, coccidiosis, and paratyphoid. And it also can be used in cage birds or smaller birds, like if you have a roller, could be a half a tablet in the morning, a half a tablet in the evening, or just a half a tablet once a day. Do that. I wouldn't be without it. I keep stuff in my loft, which I know I'm going to use on a regular basis. The advantage is if I do run out of it, I go down to the store and get some more. And sometimes I forget to tell Gina, and her inventory is screwed up. But I do keep it at the house. You have to order it, so you should order it early so you don't wait 1 or 2 or 3 days for it, or you don't have to pay an exorbitant amount of money to have it overnight to you. Remember I talked about Spiridox? We also have the powder and we have it in the tablet form. So if you want to treat individually or if you want to treat in the drinking water, we have them both. Ornithosis, mycoplasmosis. Okay?
Good job.
Well, thank you. I do my best. Sometimes even when I'm as bad as I am today, I'm better than most.
Yeah. Anyways,
Should I tell them about the celebrity I met? Oh, another time, maybe.
we already told them
Oh, we
last
already
show.
did. Okay.
Yeah, but you can tell them about Gromus.
Okay. As you know, Gromus is a good friend of the company, good friend of mine. And at some point in time, he's going to be on our show, semi-regular, to answer the questions just like I do. Gromus was down in Florida with his family on a little bit of a vacation. I don't know the exact set of circumstances, but he was in the back of the car opening the trunk to get something, and somebody hit him right from behind and knocked him for a loop. He didn't even think he was hurt that bad, but it did turn out he had a broken arm. So thank goodness he's right-handed, and his left hand is broke in a cast. So we're thinking about you. Everybody here values your friendship, Gromus. So my coop still need to be clean. I think you could do it one-handed. Okay.
And Gromus was here today, but you were at lunch.
Oh, okay. One of the pair of birds that we're going to be talking about today in our auction comes because of Gromus's influence with a close friend.
Right. And we do have a question. Hi, Blondell. He asks,
What?
I have one bird that sounds like he has a snotty nose, still very active, eating and everything, has become a little light.
Well, we sure covered it. I would certainly, if you want to treat just that one bird, I would go with the Spiridox tablets as directed. And if you want to put it in the drinking water, because think about it, snotty nose, when that bird drinks the water, that nose is going into the drinking water, so it's going to spread. You may want to treat everything. I suggest segregate that bird, get it out of your loft, at least out of the section, and you may want to treat it with the Spiridox tablets only. But if you decide you want to treat everything, then you make a gallon of the Spiridox in the drinking water, and then scoop out a little bit for the single bird, and then leave the rest for the flock.
Okay.
A question I don't have to answer.
All right. You can take a drink of your Pepsi.
Thank you.
Terry asks, how many bands do I have to buy? Well, if you're talking about year bands, they're either in multiples of 10s or multiples of 20s. It depends what type you buy. If you're talking about marker bands, there's a bunch of different ones. So you'll have to call us and ask us on that one. But year bands, either multiples of 10s or 20s.
Yeah. I don't know why, but IF, International Federation, and the AU sells them in one measurement. The NBA
IF
sells
and
them.
IPB.
Yeah, IPB and AU. But anyway, it seems like there's 2 or 3 different ways, but they're either 10 or 20.
Thank you. Thank you, Jerry.
I just noticed all the mistakes you made, so I thought I'd better correct them.
I appreciate that, and so does everybody else watching.
Okay. All right, I've got stuff to talk about. Can I talk about
We're
this?
not done talking about respiratory, but go ahead. You can take a break. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I get questions like this. While I was on vacation, I think a couple of weeks ago, when I got back, I had 60 emails. It's over 40 phone calls. So I appreciate it, but I apologize for taking so long in getting to you. I sent a question earlier. Can you respond to both in a single email? How far can you train the offspring of your white racing omers? And what's the minimum distance they can be trained? Minimum just means what's the smallest amount. That's really up to you. But I tell everybody, if you're going to be in a white dove release business, you've heard me talk about it before, you shouldn't be training your birds to fly more than 50 miles, because if if you're going past 50 miles, you're not going to make a lot of money with all the cost of driving an hour plus there, an hour plus there, back, time at the funeral or wedding. So train them out to about 50 miles. They don't have to go out there that often, but one of the things that makes it different than racing pigeons is when you race them, they're always coming from the same direction. One direction in the Pennsylvania area, where we are here near Pittsburgh, we take the birds west and they come home east. That's all they do. And they get familiar with the route. When you're doing weddings and funerals, you're going in 4 directions. So you should train them out. You don't have to train out 50 miles if you really don't want to. Last year when I trained my birds, I started out real close. They could see the loft and work my way back 200-300 yards. And then I went out to a mile. And then I started to jump them from 1 mile, not one time now. When you take them out, you're going to take them out, try at least 2 or 3 times in the same direction. Then I jump them out to 5, then I go to 25, and then I go to 50. Too many people, I think, are going 1 mile, mile and a half, 2 miles, 3 miles. Well, you don't have to do that. You have to go in 4 directions, but you can jump them out in increments of 5 or 10 miles. And when you get out to 25, they're fully capable of flying 50. So I hope I've answered the question in regards to that.
Oh, you done? Okay.
Respiratory. Got another
Terry,
good one here.
let me ask mine first. Can you get the type of bird printed on the number bands? Well, the number bands we have it is what it is. If you want to get personalized bands with certain stuff on it, you can get that, but I guess if you want to print the type of bird it is, you can. But you can't get no pictures on our personalized bands. Not sure if I answered that right.
Yeah, I think you did. All the bands, the birth bands that we sell are seamless, and the large organizations make them in 100 or a million at a time. But we do have the ability to have a company make almost anything you want, but you can't put pictures. But I know I've seen them. You'll put the year on them, and they might put his last name in tipplers, high flyer. That you can do as long as you stay within the parameters of how many letters
Spaces.
can be printed. So if you have a question, 724-843-6889,
Ask for Kim.
and ask for Kim. Oh, Kim, hi Kim, you watching that?
I did want to mention if you buy AU bands, we are almost out for the year. We got probably about 1,500 left, and those will go quick.
A couple of weeks, yeah.
Yeah, so if you want AU bands with foils on it, then you need to get them real soon.
Now, the AUIF are racing homer groups, organizations. The American Racing Pigeon Union, AU, has their bands. International Federation, IF, has their bands. But if you're going to race in a club and you're a newbie, or you've just joined the club, ask the club which bands they want to use. There are some AU affiliated clubs, there are some IF affiliated clubs, but you can also buy IPB and NPA. They make all the different sizes. But if you show your birds, you might be attending an NPA show. So there's some things to ask, but AU and IF for racing homers, NPA, IPB, all sizes, including homers, big ones to small ones.
And all the year bands are the same price. So if you just have them, just to have them, you can get any of the band. It doesn't matter.
And we probably sell more, what do we call them? No, the bands with the names.
Personalized?
Yeah, personalized bands, probably anybody in the United States. So, but be aware, don't call for personalized bands because you've got some birds that are going to hatch next week. You ain't going to get them in time. What takes about 4 weeks?
10 to 12.
10 to 12 weeks to get them. They have to come from overseas. So plan ahead. If you are going to start breeding, you want to get those bands ordered, and you can get them in any size.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And you can pick a color and You can do a rush on those though and get them in 3 weeks, but it costs a little extra.
Right. And we don't have a lot of questions. If you have questions or comments, or there's something you'd like us to cover on future shows, we said this before, just send us a Facebook question or however you want to do it, and we'll certainly consider it, because a lot of the things we talk about do come from suggestions of yours. And we mentioned at the end of this show, this segment, when I close down the auction the last 15 minutes. As Gina mentioned, we have fantails from Earl Biederman. Earl is one of the best American fantail breeders in the United States. Would you read that maybe? Or do we just have look Earl Biederman's what I wrote about him?
No, I don't.
Okay. Earl is a top breeder of American fantails. He's secretary treasurer of the Central Fantail Club. Rarely does he sell birds. But not only did he send a pair of birds, American fantails, to us, he sent a mated pair, and he suggests you keep them that way if you want to raise some really good. It's a rare opportunity. Earl, you can't just call Earl up and buy birds. But with this auction, it benefits the future of the hobby. Earl is a trustee of of the Legacy Fund Trust, and all of the money that you bid, if you win, goes into a fund to help the future of the hobby.
The other 2 types of pigeons we have are Serbian high flyers and a pair of racing homers. And you can see those on our site. And if you want to bid, you have to bid under the picture, put the name and the price that you want to bid.
Yeah, you can't call.
No.
Okay.
We have another question from Joseph. He has cats and was thinking on trying cat litter in the loft. Do you think that would be all right for your birds?
Good question on a regular basis. You have to be careful with cat litter because in order to be absorbent and kill odor, we don't know what's in it. I suppose if it's an all natural product, you might want to try it. I wouldn't. And maybe it sounds like I'm selling my own product. I guess I am. But I personally use in all of my loft a product called Floor Covering. It's ground up clay, comes out of Belgium, and it also has an anti-coccidiosis in it. That's not an antibiotic, but it's in it because, as you all know, coccidiosis very contagious. So when the bird's droppings go through the floor and land in the pigeon droppings, it helps reduce the possibility of coccidiosis spreading through your loft. It's expensive to ship. We've had people order 1 or 2 bags. We've had people order a pallet full of it. I like it too because I have 13 sections of pigeons at any time. And I put it down and it stays down for 6 months. I use a scooper, looks like a pitchfork. All of my perches are on the same wall. All the droppings go down to the floor underneath the perch. I can clean it 8x8 section. You've heard me mention it before. I can clean an 8x8 section in 5 minutes. If I want to scrape the perches and the nest boxes, it might take me another 10 minutes, but so easy, no floor to scrape. And then every 6 months, I take it all up and put a new floor covering down. Say hi to Tiffany.
Hi, I was going to.
Oh, okay.
Hi, Tiffany. I was curious, is there a difference between the bath salts you pigeons and the bath salts that could be purchased over the counter at Walmart?
Excellent question. And what's the answer?
Go ahead.
The answer is no, they're not the same, completely different. Bath salts that you use that you might get at Walmart or other stores are a soothing agent, aren't they? Mm-hmm. You soak in them. Bath salts are made to kill bugs, insects, things like that. Completely different. And don't mix the two up. You'll start growing feathers. Retract that statement.
I wasn't expecting that. Okay, so we didn't finish talking about the respiratory products.
Go ahead.
I think you mentioned Spiridox
Mhm.
already, but you didn't mention bromhexine.
Okay, and I'm glad you pointed it out. So many people buy the Spiridox, and maybe it's our fault. Maybe we don't always mention. It's not a necessity, but it's very important that you consider bromhexine. Let's say you have a Spiridox and you're going to give it to them for 7 days. Well, for the first 4 days, you mix the Spiridox and the bromhexine in the water at the same time. They're companion products made to be used together like that. And what it does is the bromhexine strengthens the Spiridox for those 4 days. It makes it even more powerful, and then you pull it away from them the 5th day. So if you order one, you really should very much consider the other. And in treating them, always follow the directions. So many people call me and tell me they use something. I almost fall off my chair sometimes. Yeah, I had them on a respiratory product for 14 days, and then I put them on the canker medicine, and then I put them on the anticoccidial. I mean, they've had these birds on something for a month. What would that do to their liver and to their kidneys? If you're going to use multiple products, use the product followed with bromhexine. With a probiotic. If it's long term, instead of going 2 days with the probiotic, go 4 days, and then give them the second drug, and then go back to the probiotic. In the last year, I switched from the probiotic to the Ultra Pro, which is ultimate vitamin and probiotic, and that's what I do. You instead of using the probiotic, I use the combination. Well, we have a lot of good ones. Dr. Pigeon makes one called Rejuvenation. Excellent product. Okay, we talked about Spiridox. Yep.
Also, with the bromhexine, you can use it with other respiratory antibiotics, correct?
Thank you. If you are using any, as she just said, anything that's meant to be used for respiratory use, it doesn't have to be just a Spiridox. Thanks, Gina.
You're welcome.
May I?
Go
We'll go to that?
Yeah, absolutely.
I have Mookies. How do you spell Mookies?
Mookies.
I always spelled it wrong.
That was a guess. I don't know.
I have a bird that's at least 8 months old, and I'm trying to determine its sex. Personal question is trying to determine. No, okay. I have had it in with known hens and have watched it, and it seemed to tread and mount a few different hens. But when I put it back into the coop, the cock chased around like it's a hen, and it has no interest in other birds. My question is this: will this hen ever mount another hen? Would it? Yes. Not all the time, but it could. In fact, in the pigeon population, you can have, for whatever reason, you can have two males mated together, even though there are extra females. You can have two females, even though there are available males. It does happen. If you get 4 eggs in a nest, you know definitely you've had 2 females put together. The males, it's a little bit more difficult, but it does happen to recognize that you have 2 cocks together. Let's see. He says when it is with known cocks, it is chased and picked at continually. Well, as you know, a male or a cockbird has a deeper throated warble, makes noise than a hen. She'll make that noise, but it is not deep throated, almost like listening to a man with a deep voice, or listening to a child, a boy or a girl with a light voice. So that's one way. A cockbird will, when it's preening, showing off to the hen, will turn in circles. It'll coo and it'll go around in a complete circle, and it'll drag their tail. That's a male. If they're a mated pair, or if you have 2 pair, even if it's 2 male, 2 female, it makes it more difficult. But if they are true hen and cock and are a mated pair, as you probably know, hen lays on the eggs usually early in the evening till the next morning. Then the cock takes over. So if you go in at 12 o'clock and the bird's on the eggs or on the young, you know for sure certain that it's a cock during the day, and in the it's a difficult process, and it gets confusing at some time. If you have a known male and you have this bird that you don't know what it is, give it some time. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 weeks for them to mate. And sometimes, just like two birds just don't like each other, and you may have to switch. But it's a trial and error. There is no foolproof way. Somebody with experience can usually be right most of the time. I can go into a loft and I think I'm going to be right 90 to 95%. I also put my two hands around the bird. The bird is facing me, and I feel underneath its vent bones. Usually, if they're really tight, close together, it's a female. If they're separated, many times it's a. I'm sorry, it's the other way around. If they're real tight, it's a male. If they're separated, it's a female. But that isn't right all the time. Another little hint: if you have a red check or a silver or a combination of those colors, and you pick up the bird and look at its tail, if you see white ticking, it's called, little black marks throughout the tail on a red check, a silver, or a lot of the other colored birds, 99 out of 100 is a cockbird. The little black ticking. I ought to bring a bird in sometime and show them the ticking. As my aide de camp, you're supposed to write little notes to remind me, you know.
Okay.
Oh.
It's hot in here.
Anyway, I know I didn't answer that question the way you would like, but not all questions are yes or no or easy to figure out. Okay,
No.
go ahead.
Joseph asked, he said, my coop is 8 by 14, 3 sections. How much floor covering would I need? 8 by 14.
12 to 16 bags. You want to make it about 2 inches thick, maybe a little less. 12 to 16 bags. But remember, it's going to be down for 6 months. So it's better to have a little bit too much than not enough. One of the issues, it's not a problem, but one of the things you'll notice when you've got your floor covering down is birds are always flying and the product itself starts to move to the walls, and you make only a little bit for an area where there's none. You have to use a regular rake or something to keep bringing it back to the center. What did I do?
Nothing.
Okay. Tiffany's back.
I know. You ready for Tiffany?
Yeah.
Some days my daughter's birds don't drink a full gallon in a day. Does she have to mix a new batch of Ultra Pro each day, or can she use it the next day?
If you're going to mix it, you should mix a double batch, and you put half the batch in the refrigerator or keep it out of the heat. But yes, I change my water every day, and I get fresh water and a clean nest bowl every day. So Ultra Pro, you can, as long as you keep it cold.
So pretty much give them what they're going to drink in a
Yeah.
day.
Yep.
And then, so if you make it in a gallon jug, just pour in what they're going to drink that day. Put the gallon in a refrigerator till the next day when you change the water.
I have,
Right.
as I said, perfect. I have many sections, and it doesn't take me long to figure out. For instance, might have only 15 birds in a section. Well, they're not going to drink a gallon. I know how much they drink roughly, so I'll only give them a half a gallon. And then there are some sections where they actually need 2 gallons. So if you monitor it. You figure out how much water they're drinking on a regular basis, and keep in mind the amount is going to increase during hot weather, and the amount is going to increase when they're breeding. So it does vary from time to time. But if you're there every day, whatever they drank today, they're going to probably drink the same amount tomorrow. And going back to the Ultra Pro, sure you can do that in the refrigerator. Don't try it with antibiotics. They've got to be changed every day.
Okay. So there's 3 more products that we haven't talked about yet.
Mm-hmm.
Tylen, Tylemox, and Mycoban.
Josh just won't leave you alone, will he?
Josh, you know you love the Steelers. It's okay.
And it's Josh, what team does he like?
I don't remember. I'm gonna guess
I think he's probably from California and he's a
No.
closet Steelers fan. He won't admit it.
everybody on here who teases us about the Steelers, they know they love them.
But how many of your teams have won 6 Super Bowls?
Good question.
Most teams
All
haven't
them
won one.
stinking Ravens fans.
You know, I have a nephew, grandson who's a Baltimore fan.
Who?
Jaden.
Oh, that's right, Jaden.
All right, question. Are we going to? Do you? Go ahead.
Tylenol, Mycoban.
Yep. All right. You do Michael Band and I'll do these two.
No, you can do them all. So Tylenol is the product that a lot of people have been ordering in the past couple of weeks.
Tylenol that we sell is basically the same thing as you've heard Tylenol, same basic drug, Tylenol. Tylenol is a respiratory issue, a respiratory product. It just tells you, I know it, I use it regularly when I know I have a serious respiratory problem. It also tells you it'll help with one-eyed cold. It'll help with almost any respiratory issue you've got. 20% Tylenol. Now you look at some of our competitors, they're selling a product that's 5 or 10%. Maybe fine, maybe you're going to have to use it twice as long, but this is 20%, 2 teaspoons to a gallon. It's a potent product, 5 to 7 days. And Rhonda, what do you follow the Tylenol with?
Rhonda's watching.
Veronica. Come on, all these shows. Probiotics. Any antibiotics follow it. The next one, we've talked about amoxicillin in the past. Once again, amoxicillin. When I go to the doctor, sometimes they prescribe amoxicillin, and I laugh. I said, I sell that, doc. If you want to buy some, I'll give you a good price. But anyway, Tylenol, respiratory. The other one is amoxicillin. Put the two together. Now, remember, you can use the bromhexine when you're using these products. Any respiratory product, you can, the first 4 days, you boost its potency. So if you have a respiratory issue, you're not sure what it is, amoxicillin being broad spectrum, and I apologize, I'm supposed to be looking there and I keep looking up at the screen, but amoxicillin is broad spectrum, Tylenol is more specific for respiratory. You're using them together because in some cases, it may not be respiratory. Broad spectrum treats a lot of other bacterial infections. Mycoban.
Is that all natural also as well, Mycoban? I think it is.
Yeah. It's not a vitamin. It says it's a combination of vitamins and antimicrobics, which is basically, what's that little word? It'll come to me.
Mycoplasma? No?
No.
I don't know.
But anyway, it's a respiratory product. If you were breathing heavy, you got young all over the place, and you have some concern, might be a better product because there is no antibiotics. I know I speak against probiotics so often. What did I say? I'm sorry. I'm talking about antibiotics so often because we as Americans overdo it. Go natural if it's all possible. If you're not sure, you don't give them 2 or 3 drugs trying to cover all of the different diseases you have. So give me a call. We'll talk about it. In fact, in a minute or two, I'm going to give you my home phone number. And you can call me and we'll try to figure out which one it is. Because they're not all the same. Upper respiratory, lower respiratory, one-eyed cold, mycoplasmosis in the throat. So it makes sense to try to use the right one. So this is for the treatment of bacterial infections such as mycoplasmosis and E. coli, all natural, so you're not using an antibiotic. Also, we neglect to tell people many of our products work on chickens, and many of our products, including this one, work on cage birds, canaries, parakeets, that kind of thing. Feel safe with this one if the birds appear to have a respiratory issue. So if you have cage birds, be a good one to have. And don't wait. Some of the ones we've talked about, like the amoxicillin and some of the respiratory products, good to have them there. Divot, I would certainly have it in my loft on a regular basis. I would not want to wait 2 or 3 days to have it mailed to me.
Yeah, a lot of people call and their bird's been sick several days and they call on a Friday. Well, the only way you can get it on Saturday is pay a whole lot of money to get it on Saturday. And then,
Bunch of money.
yeah. So, yes, Randy, I'm sleepy. It's hot in here. Somebody mentioned me about being sleepy because I keep yawning.
Oh, I want to talk a little bit. We have the time, and if you want to send me a question, you may interrupt me. But I want to talk about the white bird release business. If you are looking for a way to make a little bit of extra money, now there's no guarantees that you're going to. What you put into it is what you're going to get out of it. But this white dove release business is exploding across the United States. Normally, right around this time of the year, I've supplied maybe 50 to 100 white pigeons, white doves. I have already passed 200 white doves, which are white racing homers. I sell the breeders and I sell the young ones. I have a friend who last year, not to name names, he's in the white dove release business. Most of it funerals. His gross income was in excess of $100,000. I have another friend who keeps 2,000 white doves. He does, and he has people work for him on a full-time basis. They do roughly 25 funerals per week. Now, just assuming in California it's much more expensive, let's just assuming he's charging $400 for a release. $400, and if he's doing 100 a month, he's bringing in $40,000 a month doing white doves. And his secret was he got to know funeral home directors, went to visit them, talked to them. The funeral directors make him as part of the package. He doesn't have to do anything. The funeral director sells it to the deceased family as part of the whole package. In most cases, he delivers the bird to the funeral home, and the funeral director lets the birds go. Talks about it, does a little bit of a ceremony, lets the doves go. But if you're looking for a way to earn extra money, got a lot of calls about it. But the other day, where a guy is retired, Social Security is not enough. He's had pigeons all his life. He wants to get into the white dove release business. So you really ought to, if you're looking for something to keep you occupied, make a little extra money, you may want to consider it. There's a book called White Pigeons, The Color of Money. Who wrote that book? Good looking guy, really smart, good looking.
Yeah.
Does a show on Facebook.
I forget.
Veronica,
I
do you
forget
remember?
his name.
No, she's shaking her head. But anyway, it's a book, but I call it a booklet. White Pigeons, The Color of Money, written specifically for people getting into the business, and even more so for people who want to get into business. They want to stay home, work from home, and they don't know anything about pigeons. They want to get into business, but know nothing about pigeons. Well, the book should have been called Pigeons for Dummies, because I break it down to the very minimum, the little information they may not know, how many eggs. We get some people call us about they're in the business and they've never touched the egg. They're afraid if they touch the egg, the parents are going to leave it. That's hokum.
Not true.
You can pick them up at any time, eggs or young, it doesn't matter. In fact, I carry, I don't know if I got one in my pocket. Yeah, I think I do. Well, here's the cap. That means my pants are going to be stained. Anyway, I use a felt tip pen, and when an egg is laid, I write the date. Not today is the 20th?
19.
I don't write 4/19/19. There's only, today's the 20th, or I don't write 4/20. There's only one 20th day in a month. So I write 20. That just tells me it was laid the 20th of the month because the eggs will be hatching before the next 20th comes.
Right.
So I write it on every egg. And I have another reason for doing that. There are times, let's say I have a pair of birds that somebody really wants. They're attracted to them. That's the only pair they want. But they've got eggs or young. What am I going to do? So in order to try to help the customer make the sale, of course, I will look at the eggs, and let's say they were laid on the 19th. I will go through all of my lofts and look for eggs that were laid on the 19th. And you don't want to do it on a regular basis, but I've done it many times. I take the two eggs, if I can find two 19ths, I take the two eggs, and the other two pair are going to raise 3 young. They can do it. They can do it on a regular basis, so it helps out sometimes. Or if you panic and you walk in and the bird, for some reason, left the eggs, you're in there every day, and if it's in summertime, good chance the egg is still fertile, the baby's still alive. Take that egg and go put it, try to find another pair that has young the same size. If they're within 1 or 2 days, the parents will adopt them, no problem at all. So that's something to keep in mind also. Or in some cases, people have used incubators and they will hatch the pigeon egg out, but the pigeon can't eat or drink. It's helpless as a baby. So you need an eyedropper, something like Exact or some other baby food, and you can actually raise the young one yourself. So if you're looking for a white business, a business to make some extra money or make a living, and you have any questions, give us a call. We have a lot of white bird products in our catalog, baskets and special things that you might need. I think we're getting to the end of the show.
Whew, you gotta be tired.
I must say, I was tired when I began. I'm kind of feeling pretty good right now.
Well, that's good, because now
Thank
I'm
God
tired.
for the Pepsi.
Right?
As long as it is Pepsi.
So the next show is Friday, May 3rd. If there's anything you want us to show, anything you want us to talk about, just give us a call, let us know. We'll be happy to talk about it or show you whatever you want to see. Get ready for the auction. It's directly following the show at 4 o'clock. Ends at 4:15, so get your bids in now. Don't wait till the very last minute because you may not.
It's happened. People think they can get in with their Facebook, but your Facebook doesn't get to us right away
Might
sometime.
have a little delay, yeah.
We close it right at that time.
Right at 4:15, it's over.
And we'll be talking about the birds. Also, Veronica always posts pictures of those birds that are going to go on the auction. So next Monday, is it next Monday or the Monday after that? The week of the auction, you put the birds' pictures up earlier if possible, right? And if you have a question about a particular pair of birds before you bid, you can always call and ask us. I'll be glad to help you out in answering your questions. Next, the auction starts in about 30 seconds or so, maybe a minute, because we have to move out into a different room. A pair of Serbian high flyers. And in the notes that I wrote about them, the man that gave us to them has the best Serbian high flyers. Of course, he's Serbian in the world. Best Serbian high flyers in the world. They're American fantails. Great looking birds. This pair is a couple of different colors. Earl Biederman from, I want to say Arizona, could be New Mexico. Send them to me as a contribution for the Legacy Farm Trust. And the last pair is a pair of blacks donated by me.
So
we over and done and all that kind of stuff. Can I leave now and go set up the cage?
you can leave.
Thank
Go ahead. He's tired of talking, but he sure never let me talk.
Keep talking.
All right. So, anyways, next show Friday, May 3rd. We're about to head on out and do the auction. Happy Easter to everybody, and see you next time. I know. We're not closing. We're just gonna transport out there. I'm just gonna cover that for a minute so I can get out. Ash, say hi. Hey. I don't know.
I like the white man.
Okay. We're on.
We're on.
We're still on.
Hi, folks. That didn't take as long as I thought it would. We talked about it during our regular Facebook show. If you're interested in any of these birds, get on Facebook. Don't wait while I talk. Put your bid in. Do we know what the bids are, Veronica? Or do we have any at the moment? Okay. Right now, the bids that we have for the racing owners, and that's the pair of blacks, donated by Foy's Pigeon Supplies. They're out of my own loft. These are a couple of breeders that I keep. It's a mated pair. If I remember, I might be wrong, but he was driving her. So this is the black, beautiful orange eye. Look at that white wattle. That's what you want. Snow white, chalky white. Tells you the bird is healthy. The bird is a the dog below me wants a piece of this bird, don't you? The bird is a 2018 banded by myself, right out of my loft. Breeds some good young ones. The bird has never been out. You probably could break it, being a 2018 bird, break it to your loft, but that's going to be your option. If you decide you want to fly it, raise a pair of young ones from it before you fly it, so at least you'll have some of its protege. And that's the cock, and that's the hen I just showed you. This is the cock. This is, I call it black, but it's actually smoky black. It has a little bit of a gray tinge to it. Beautiful pigeon. It is a 2016 bird, so you have a little older hen. She's going on 3. The mate was born last year. Nice wattle, beautiful orange eye. If you're looking for a good pair of pigeons, the bid that we have right now for this pair, if you want to buy this pair, we accept bids in $10 increments. Jorge Silva is bidding $100. You can buy this pair for $110. All you have to do is go $10 above. The next pair we're going to talk about, we didn't bring out that information, did we? Pardon? Oh, you want to do it that way? Okay. There you go. Is it too dark or you okay? Nice and calm. Once again, we have a bid of $100. You've got about 10 or 12 more minutes. If you want to send a bid via Facebook, please do. $10 increments. Now we're going to talk about a beautiful pair of American fantails. This is a chocolate. The birds themselves were donated by Earl Biederman. Earl is one of the top breeders of American fantails in the United States. He's also Secretary Treasurer of the American Fantail Club, Central Fantail Club. This bird is a chocolate. It's got pearl eyes. Pearl is the white around the iris, is the middle part of the iris. Anyways, it's circled in white. The other one, the homers we were talking about, had orange eyes. This bird is a 2018 pair, and highly recommended that you breed these two birds together. American fantail, chocolate, beautiful tail. The mate to it, they're not go there. Take a picture of this fan while he's got his fan out. Look at how big that fan is. Now, I've kept these birds in a cage for a little bit of time, so you can see the tails are feathered out, fretted a little bit, but they'll all come together Beautiful bird, big tail. This would be the cock bird. This bird from Earl's Loft is a 2015. Now, 2015 means something to me because that means that Earl fought enough of this bird to keep it in his breeding pen for 4 years. He kept it for a reason. This is a good pigeon, huge tail. It's a black checker. He recommends that you put them together. You can see a little bit of brown in the feather. 2018 from Earl Biederman. Earl, thank you very much. I fully expect the bird to bring a fair amount of money. I want to look right in this eyeball, Gina. See that feather? Now that could cause a problem. And if you see a feather, a little feather like that, get it out of there if you can. See, it came right out. It was wet, and that could create a problem, a cold, because it's irritating the eye, could create a one-eyed cold. Pair of American fantails, Earl Biederman stock. Anybody would be glad to have them. They're tough to buy. I was looking in the Pigeon magazines yesterday. There's only one listing, if I remember right, for fantail. So if you're looking all over the place, start here. Best pair you're going to find available. Most people keep their best birds. Being Earl is a trustee of the Legacy Fund Trust, he wanted to make sure that he sent something good. Those are good. The last pair we're going to talk about, and I don't say this lightly, this is a pair of, well, what was the bid on the fantails? I'm sorry. Do we have a bid for them?
125.
We're at 125, so 135, 150, you can own that pair of fantail. That's dirt cheap. I was talking to Earl, he said, I wouldn't be surprised if you got a couple of $100, especially if people hear that I sent them in. Now, this is another pair, this is a pair we've had from this breeder one other time, Serbian high flyers. The gentleman who donated to us is Serbian. He, for some political reasons in Serbia, he had to leave the country and leave all his birds, and he came to America. And and he was able to get some of his original birds, pearl eye again, little crest. He got some of his original birds and came to America and made them available. He's known all over the world. The Serbian high flyer, they fly high and high and fly through the night. That's what they're known for. This is a blue bar. This bird is a 2018 bird. It bands with aluminum. So it's a 2018 bird. And its mate is a checker. Once again, same band, comes from the same man. And this is also a 2018 bird. Now, it's got the pearl eye. Look at that nostril. It's supposed to be chalky white. That's what you're looking for. Got the little peak on the back. 2018 bird, a checker. No bugs on these birds. It's amazing. A bird this small can fly through the night and come back down the next day. So if you're interested in high flyers, give the Serbians some serious thought. What's their bid on them, Veronica? $100 bid. So 110, 100, whatever you decide. But you've only got a few more, 5 more minutes. If you want to get on Facebook, send those bids in. Boy, somebody's getting a deal on these birds, especially the fantails and the Serbians. $100, so it's for charity. If you bid $100 and all 3 bids are $100, your name will be listed. No, I'm sorry. The contributor will be listed in the NPA Quarterly. Great deal. Pretty pigeon. Healthy as a healthy pigeon. Wish I had more time. $100. That's all you got to do. You've got about 3 or 4 minutes. You'll know whether we get a bid, right, Veronica? If not, we'll tell you who the buyer is, the final bid. Come on. No, you can't go there. All right. Once again, Facebook auction to benefit the future of the hobby. All the money goes to charity. It's never spent, just the interest or dividends from the earned income is the best word. Those are the fantails from Earl Bieneman. Come on, turn around. There we go. There we go. Look at the tail on that bird. Boy, somebody's getting a bargain. And this pair of black racing homers, once again, $100 bid. They come from my loft. I was breeding from them. I think I moved the eggs on them to bring them. So if you, I can't remember for sure though. If you look if it's good pigeons, I do thank you once again for staying around for an extra 15 minutes for the auction for the National Pigeon Association Legacy Fund Trust. What happens is when your bid is accepted, you have to give us your credit card information. We urge you call right away so we can get it all cleaned up, and I'll ship them to you next Tuesday. And when I ship them, I will call you and tell you when they're going to be, what day they're going to be there. But they have to be paid for before we send them out. If you need me, once again, if you want to talk to me personally, my home phone is 724-359-5355. You can't leave a message, but I will call you back because it shows my caller ID. But I urge people, if you really need me, call FOIS, 724-843-6889, because there are people at home calling me now. But if you call here, any of the folks know where I'm at, and they'll call me on my cell phone, and I'll do my very best to get back to you. Gina says bye, Sherry says bye, and I have to mention
Mention the cost of shipping also.
the process.
Cost of shipping.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, thank you, Gina. You're buying the birds, but you have to pay for the box and shipping. If you look in our catalog, Foy's catalog, for one pair we charge $80 for the box and shipping by airmail. Foy's has graciously given everybody that buys a bird a discount. So instead of $80, it's going to be $60 to your door. 724-843-6889 is Foy's. 724-359-5355 is me. We'll have an auction again in 2 weeks. Not sure yet what we're going to have, but I have some bird. I just got in a pair of English trumpeters from John DiCarlo out in California. Another gentleman called me. He's sending some racing owners. So stay tuned. For in the next 2 weeks, we're going to have 3 new pair of birds. It's a fundraiser, as I say, for the Legacy Fund Trust. Got 1 more minute? I don't know whether I can talk for a minute.
We can show the birds.
Thank you very much for watching the show. Once again, probably they don't have time to Facebook now. And if they haven't bid by now, probably too late. But we urge you to call as soon as the show is over, and the girls can take the information and get the birds shipped to you. Or for the folks that got these birds at $100 or 100, whatever it is, they got a steal. 724-843-6889 is Foy's. 724-359-5355. Come here, Sherry. Get her. This is Sherry. Sherry's been with us for 13 years.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah,
close to that.
and you go ahead. You were going to say something? She wasn't planning on this, but Sherry answers the phone, takes the orders, works at the counter, and packs a lot of the orders for you.
Auction's over.
Pardon?
Auction's
The
over.
auction is over. Thank you. Say bye.
See ya.
We got to announce the winners.
Okay, the winners. Ray Short got the Serbian high flyers. His bid was $110, so he took advantage. We had a bid of 100. Ray stuck in and got them for 110. The racing homers are 160. They went to Nathan Schwewe, SCHEWE, $160. The fantails went to Earl Gates, $135. It's interesting. People are learning. All 3 of the winners this week were people who called in or Facebooked in at the very last part of the show. And they near the end, they ended up with the birds. Thanks to Jorge Silva, Keith Christensen, And Randy Trissell, thanks for bidding. Come back for the next auction. I can tell people now, I've got another pair of American Fantails that will be available at the next auction.